Get to spread the virus. Thank you for ordering Opie and Anthony on High Voltage. You know, Opie and Anthony's not on the air on XM202 yet, so they're going to play this message over and over and over again, which is good for me because I get paid every single time I open my mouth. You're currently listening to Opie and Anthony, Ungagged, recently recorded at the XM Studios in Washington, D.C. Tune in to XM202 on Monday, October 4th at 6 a.m. Eastern Time for the live premiere of the Opie and Anthony Show, exclusively on XM Satellite Radio.
Oh, that makes me so hot.
Welcome to XM. We got something a little different this time. This is kind of like the old joke about two guys walk into, only in this case it's two guys walk into a studio and they start a conversation. And pretty soon people all across the country get into this conversation and they add to it. And everybody talks about it, but pretty soon what that leads to is some people get really scared about what's going on. And eventually the talking stops and everything gets very, very quiet. Until now. These are two of the best observers of our current social culture and the funniest guys ever to crack a mic. So please welcome to XM, Ungagged, Opie and Anthony.
Where's our guitars?
Isn't that nice?
What a scary audience.
Thank you. Thank you.
Thank you very much. Thank you.
Look at that. Thank you very much.
Welcome. Those are your first words on the radio in 2 years.
Oh, that's right.
There you
and
go.
What was it? Thank you?
Thank you.
I waited 2 years for a thank you.
Actually, I said...
It had you in it, but it started a little different.
Mine was, what a scary audience.
Welcome to XM.
Thanks
you,
for having
George.
us, man.
It's really good to have you here. We have an audience full of O&A fans, and they'll get shot at you throughout the hour here. But now that you're officially ungagged,
Yeah.
what do you have to say for yourself?
Can I just say fuck?
No.
Because so many people, we've been talking about this for the last 2 years, and when you go to satellite radio, is it going to be the FU show? Are you guys going to curse just to curse? No. But I just want to get that out of the way so we can move
Out
forward.
of his system?
Yeah, it's
Very
finally out
good.
of my system. Thank you. You were supposed to
Well,
laugh at that.
2 years. 2 years being off the air. I don't know. You think of what you want to do when you get back on. And I guess until we get on, no one's going to really know what the hell we want to do. Just get back to doing our show. So many things have happened over 2 years that we haven't been able to comment on, and, it sucked.
I want to say that
Did a radio show with Opie over the telephone.
Yeah.
Almost every day. Every time some news happened, it was like, oh, did you hear that one? Did you see Mike Tyson get his ass kicked in the fight? Wasn't that great? Yeah, well, boy, this would have been great for me if... Nothing. I just had Opie on the other end going, that's funny, Anthony. That would have
We're
been great.
killing for an audience of two. We're thinking,
yeah.
this would have been fun for 1 million people,
Yeah.
but instead we're making each other laugh.
And we're paying through the phone bill to even do the show.
That's true. Yeah.
Did you guys hang out together a lot when you were ungagged?
No, we don't hang out when we're not doing the
not
radio
at all.
show.
No.
I can't
First
be
of all,
that.
I couldn't find him. There was no finding Opie. He was traveling like the World Traveler. I'd call him up and be like, maybe we should take a meeting with the agent or something. Where are you, Opie? We hook up later on this afternoon. I'm in the Grand Canyon, Anthony. I took a burro down. He's like living out Brady Bunch episodes. We took a burro down, and it's fantastic down here. I guess you won't be back this afternoon.
It's a true story. I almost died in the Grand Canyon with my brother, yeah.
A little hot down there.
Well, I did something that you're not supposed to do, and I didn't realize
figure that one out.
until we were in the gift shop, and we saw a book that says Deaths at the Grand Canyon. And there was a few of them in there that it's the exact thing we did. They don't like you hiking all the way down to the Colorado River and back in the same day. And, on the way out, it got a little scary and a little dark, but we made it out. One time, Anthony called me, and I was actually on the X where JFK got shot.
Yeah, I call him out. He's in Dallas. He's in Texas at Dealey Plaza. And he's on the X that some sicko painted in the street. For some reason, they painted an X right where Kennedy bought it.
Right.
And Opie's like, Anthony, you'll never guess where I am. And I don't even try. I go, no, of course I wouldn't. Where? I don't know. England? And I had no clue. And he was on the X.
I was there with Jim Norton, and Jim's like, you think they put the X there back in, was it there before he made that faithful...
That would have been a coincidence.
But yeah, I was quantum leaping all over the country there, George.
Well, you mentioned this when you first sat down, and it really is valid. There's been so many things that have happened in the last 2 years, and there must have been some of those pulling your hair out, events that have happened that you couldn't address. And just give me a couple of examples, if you...
Top of the list?
Right there.
The governor of New Jersey's gay, and we're not on the air?
Yeah, that was a good one.
You're kidding me.
That was definitely a good one. And then half our cheesy guests that we used to get just dying, Dr. Smith. Who saw Dr. Zachary Smith from Lost in Space dying while we were off the air? The nerve. Ronald Reagan. We figured that guy would be around for at least, give us a couple of months on the air, Ronnie, before you leave.
Buddy Ebsen.
The only reason we had Buddy Ebsen on the air was he was one celebrity that we figured we could absolutely get the last interview from. He's not one of the guys that are really in demand all the time. And everyone was getting press about getting the last interview with certain celebrities. So we decide to get Buddy Ebsen's phone number, call him up, and do an interview with him. And he was happy, to do it. And we figured he would die, and we'd have the last interview. Well, this guy hung on for years. And we called him every year. We just kept calling him. He knew who we were.
It started back in '95 when we were working in Boston.
Very good friends we ended up being. And we figured he'd be around. And what does he go and do? Dies when we're off the air. So we didn't get the last interview. I don't know who did. Maybe we did. I don't even know. Perhaps.
You're on a radio platform now that has no boundaries.
Yeah.
And it opens the door to a lot of things.
Trouble.
Which you addressed in the beginning here. So if there aren't any boundaries, where do you draw the line, or do you just do what you always did? You certainly have a vernacular, a whole list of phrases that covered things you couldn't cover in broadcast radio.
We assumed that the words that we made up during doing our show were good. They were ones that could skate past the FCC. They weren't the actual words. When you said balloon knot, we assumed everybody would know. And if you don't know what balloon knot is, you blow up a balloon and tie it in a knot, and now look into where you just blew in. Look in that knot, and then picture what part of the human body it looks like, right? We figured balloon knot was safe. Well, the FCC, in their infinite wisdom and changing of their rules whenever they want, decided that balloon knot was a dirty word. And we were actually fined a part of the St. Pat's debacle.
$357,000.
Yeah, that they came up with was the term balloon knot. They said that, we know what it means. No, you don't. You can't make rules like that. I am so happy to have them out of our hair here at XM. We will now be able to do the show we were doing when we first started, the show that we wanted to do. Not just get on there and curse all the time, but that'll be fun too. But to be able to do the show we were doing using the fun words for certain parts of the body and actions and whatnot, and not have to get off the air and lock our office door and wait for the GM to knock and say, uh-oh, we're in it again, Yeah,
one of the first things the powers that be here at XM told us is, guys, you could be as crazy as you want. And I'm thinking to myself, do you really want to tell us that going into this?
Yeah, I was like...
we have a way of messing things up. Don't you understand?
I suggested they Google our name in the news section and do a little review there and see if they really want us to be that out of control.
Okay, we'll start with Sex for Allah.
That's right. Some mosque-rocking sex at the...
Someone did tell us if the couple had sex in a mosque, we would be heroes instead of the scourge of society.
Instead of exiled radio hosts.
So do you disagree with the fact that you should have got fired over the St. Pat's Sex for Sam thing?
That's a whole thing. Technically, we didn't get fired. Unfortunately, we would have liked to have gone back to work before 2 years, but Infinity Broadcasting held us to our contract. We had about 2 years left on it, and it was kind of a compliment to us in the show that they didn't want to compete against us because they knew we were running, right across the street, and we were going to start competing with them, probably in mornings against Howard, and they did not want that. Absolutely didn't want that. So they sat us out. They paid us, which everybody at first is like, dude, wait a minute. You're getting paid for doing nothing and you're complaining? It's like, yeah, but, we didn't go in and pour concrete every day. No. We're hanging out with our friends, goofing, looking at tits, Oh, yeah, get me out of that job, please. Pay me to stay home. No. Believe me, I'd get the check every week and go, you're kidding me, right? You're paying me again for this?
Yeah, and the fantasy, everyone wishes they could get paid to do nothing, and the fantasy in your head is like, I'm going to be at the beach every day with the guys drinking beer, having sex with beautiful women. Know what I did for 2 years? I played golf with old guys that the average age was like 70-something, and they would brag about their latest medical procedure that is keeping them alive. I'm like, this was not in my fantasy of being out of work for 2 years.
The only people, though, that were available during the day were retired guys and crackheads. They're really you get the fantasies like Opie said about, hey, you think back to when you were 18 or something and go, I'm going to hang out with my friends. We're going to hang out at the apartment, drink some beers, play some PlayStation and stuff. They're all working. They have jobs. They didn't go and have people have sex in a church.
Yeah.
They're still working. So we had nobody to hang out with, really. That's why he took off on his little escapade around the country, and I decided to find any hobbies I could. For some reason, I decided, one day I'd wake up and go, radio control helicopters. That's cool. Infinity's paying me. Fuck it, I'm buying them, man. And I go and buy radio control helicopters, and for 3 months, there I am. And then, 3 months go by, you get a little bored and go, all right. I bet I could do CGI as good as Lucas could if I had the software. All right, I'm going to order a Mac. I'm going to order this. And there I am making flying saucers and incorporating them into my photos, and 3 months go by and I got to find something else. And this was my life for 2 years, trying to find something. Big fun.
You had some other opportunities. I mean, at the end of this, as it got close to the end, I'm sure people were beating on your door to do something because you were missed out there. So you had a choice of going back to broadcast radio.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, it was a weird situation. We knew the first day we got on the air on broadcast radio, we were going to have the target on our head. We just knew it. People that aren't familiar with the show, they knew our names. People that never listened to the show, they knew our names. And they knew the second we got on the air, we were going to say, like we were saying before, hey, it's Opie and Anthony, we're back. Did you hear what they said? I know by back he means ass sex. So call the FCC. We got to get them off the air again. So, it really, with the climate of radio today, broadcast radio, it wasn't an option for us to go on broadcast radio and do the show that we knew the people wanted and that we wanted to do. Couldn't be done. We couldn't sit there and go, hey, it's Opie and Anthony, we're back now in the new climate of radio. Ho, ho, Opie. Wow, did you see the bottom on that girl? Ho, ho. It would be stupid. The fans wouldn't like it. We wouldn't like doing it. We'd be miserable. Thank God XM, it doesn't have those restrictions and had some balls to pick us up and put us on the air. Although they haven't yet. It's very close.
They have no idea what they got themselves into. But we would have had that bullseye on our head, and it just wasn't worth it. It would have been too frustrating to do the show we know we could do. So.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
There's a room full of your fans out here who've come from as far away as New Jersey.
Jersey.
Wow.
And don't be shy. You may never have another chance to stand up here and, or maybe you all live with these guys. I don't know. Stand up here and ask a question. So if you have anything you want to throw your 2 cents worth in, step up to the mic.
Feel free. That guy wants it. There he goes.
There we go.
Here it comes.
And, tell us your name, though.
I'm Dan from New Jersey.
Really?
Yeah.
Right on.
I actually went down to Philly. I couldn't make it to the Belmar. Are you going to have any more Asbury Park type festivals?
Man, I loved Asbury Park. Wasn't that nice? It was the feeling of Baghdad, downtown Baghdad. It really was.
We said it looked like downtown Beirut.
Yeah, it looked like Beirut. It looked like bombs had gone off, man. And you hear Bruce talking about Jersey, man, and Asbury Park, and it's so cool. We're playing the Stone Pony, and you go down there like, oh my God, what happened to it?
Yeah, the Stone Pony was the only building still standing.
Yeah. You go to Asbury Park, it's like, the Stone Pony and devastation.
We were convinced there were snipers on all the roofs around the Stone Pony, just. With us in their crosshairs.
With all that said, and all the devastation and crime that has taken over Asbury Park, we got in trouble. for the show we did there.
Yeah,
Apparently,
that's right.
breasts are a bad thing again. I don't know what it is with breasts, but they get a lot of people in trouble. And again, we got in trouble down there for girls flashing, wowing in Asbury Park. But your question, maybe not Asbury Park, but we absolutely plan on getting together, getting the crew back together, and taking the show out on the road like we had in the past.
He's obviously talking about the road shows we used to do, but the cool thing about satellite radio, we could broadcast the road shows on our channel.
Yeah, if you can't make it, I mean, listen in and hear the debauchery that takes place,
The truckload of money you guys made over this last couple of years and before, invested wisely? This kind of addresses what kind of people?
No, our portfolios stink.
Thank God we kind of learned our lesson early. When we first started at WNEW in New York, the stock market was insane. Everyone was in it. I mean, you could talk to your landscaper and he's giving you stock tips, And we decided to jump on board.
Hold on, I got to back up though. We were doing a radio show in New York, and that's when Anthony discovered day trading.
I have my laptop.
He would be getting in and out of stocks while we're doing our radio show, and there were times I'm like getting into a really serious, deep point about something, right? And I would look over to him and go, oh my God, he's not even listening.
No, I'm trying to get a sell order in, and, come on, it's dropping.
Yeah, the market's closing. I remember the show got a lot better at like 4 o'clock. 4:01, the show officially started back then.
After the closing bell.
Anthony you were in heavy for a while, man.
Everybody was winning. It was great. And, I put some money in an E-Trade account. And it didn't. I was on vacation at Disney one day, and I was making like trades in the hotel room at Disney. And but you couldn't lose. You couldn't lose. I was amazed. I'm going, why isn't everybody doing this? And then I took everything I had made, and of course you reinvested in some other half-assed internet stocks. And then April rolled around of that year, and oh my God. Everything just went right down the crapper, and but thank God it was a portion of what I had taken and put in the E-Trade account just to screw around with. But now I know better, and any of the money that I had made, that Infinity was so gracious to pay us.
Do you really know better?
Out. Yes.
We recently got involved in a radio company's IPO. You guys are going to get in on the ground floor. What was it, 19?
Yeah, the ground floor. We didn't know it had 18 levels of basement.
We got all excited. We're on the phone, conferencing each other. How much are you going to put in this stock? We're in. So, and well, now that stock, we got in at 19. It's at 12 something today.
It's at 12 and change.
That's where my savings account is right now.
But no, with the way everything is now, I just keep it in the bank. I'm like, yeah, I'm getting 1%. Yeah, but you know something? You talk to people that are invested, and they're like, dude, I only lost $8,000 this month. And they're happy. They're like happy. Well, buddy, I know he lost $20,000, but I only lost $8,000. It's like, I got to put it in the bank and earn 1%.
I have a financial advisor. That's his whole pitch, that I'll lose less money for you than others. I swear to God, that's what his pitch was to me.
Yeah, we held on to that Infinity cash.
Got some emails off the website here.
Ooh,
I can
nice.
either pass them to you or just read them here, whichever way you want to go.
Let me take a look at one.
We're going to take a look at that. This one actually was pretty common.
A lot of people want to ask this. A large majority of your old afternoon show is callers from all over the U.S. How is moving to mornings going to work? And what changes in the format can we expect? Thanks. Well, we're going to call our listeners Ditto Heads now. And we're just going to talk about how the Democratic Party sucks. Now, the show is pretty much going to remain the same. I mean, I can't see us changing it. Aside from, I don't know, I think even if we were on the air for the past 2 years, the show would have evolved into something, it changes a little here and there. It had during the time we were on the air. So I'm sure there'll probably just be a few changes just because we had changed a little bit over the past 2 years. But I wouldn't expect any big changes. And the fact that we're doing mornings, all right, that's going to be fucking rough. That's going to be...
it'll be taken. We're going to have to get used to that again.
Yeah, getting up in the morning is not my
But then the show's
going
to
to
be replayed throughout the day, so that's kind of exciting.
Yeah.
I mean, we're running our own radio station, basically. So
as far as the callers go, I think people are allowed to use their phones in the morning. Like, I don't understand that when people go, people used to call in the afternoon. Oh, yeah.
And let's be honest,
Morning,
the callers held us back a lot of times.
Oh, what a bunch of dopes. Teasing, of course.
No, we had a very interactive show, and we look forward to continuing with that.
Yeah, getting up in the morning is if you're going to start at 7,
6
East Coast
10.
time, so that means you get up at
5:30.
Yeah, 5:30.
That's the radio answer right there. And you
Even
roll in
later
the
if
door
we
and just start
Sleep at the station.
the conversation. I would
Step
sure
up to that
absolutely.
mic.
Look how
First of all,
professional
I'm
this
supposed
is.
to be teaching special ed up in Maryland right now, but I pretended to have an asthma attack so I could come down here and drink on
Bless you.
a street corner and then walk into XM to see
Who's
y'all,
watching the handy-capable
Yes,
people?
sir. Doing a terrible job at it too. But anyway, I wanted to know a lot of the really cool parts about your show at NEW was it really felt like friends drinking and hanging out and whatnot, especially with a lot of comics in the studio.
Mm-hmm.
As far as you guys being in mornings, do you think that's going to be able to translate for your guests that you bring in,
my
like
God.
Norton or Patrice, Jim Brewer?
Honestly,
like
it's
that?
going to get better because, these guys stay out all night banging hookers and doing drugs and stuff. So the stories are going to come in with at 6 in the morning are going to be even better.
Yeah, and not only the stories, but I'm sure the smells
Right.
that are going to come in from their previous night. And one of the good things, though, a lot of people wonder if the comics are going to show up that early in the morning, especially our comic friends. They are complete whores. They will not pass up an opportunity to plug their shows, their CDs, their wares, and try to get laid. So we absolutely, they will be there. Yeah,
Yeah, we'll make it work.
if we're there. Again, man, that is early.
Well, you also have the opportunity to pop on any time of the day that you want.
That's one of the pluses, man. I mean, if we're going to an event that's live 3 to 7, we could pop on live 3 to 7.
Yeah.
We don't have to. We're not pinned down to just do the morning shift. So, I don't know. We do 1 or 2, and then screw it. We do afternoons. I'm into that. No, we could go on any time. We were talking about, New Year's Eve, just getting tanked and doing the broadcast at midnight.
We just have to do 4 hours a day. We'll
Whatever hours those are. Do they have to be in a row? I don't know. I don't know. I'd be into, an hour. I got to go. Take a break.
I was in Boston when you guys were at AAF.
Yeah.
You were at ZLX.
I was at ZLX. And Tom Menino was still the mayor when I left town.
That guy is holding the job like a pope. He's not leaving. One of the most corrupt cities ever. And they keep him in there. They love him.
Mumbles.
We were the problem.
Mumbles
remember?
Menino. We must get rid of the guy's tongue is like a big slab of meat, and he can't speak. But he is indeed alive.
And I
Don't
think he's
let him
connected,
fool
so
you.
why don't you shut up?
Who is it, eh?
Yeah.
So tell me the genesis of that little trick.
Well, the mayor's dead prank?
Yes, the mayor's dead.
Opie's fault again.
But I what do you mean again? Anthony, we've been doing a lot of interviews lately. I think Anthony's blaming me for the Sex for Sam thing. We'll get into that a little later. I
I
guess.
don't ever recall going, let's send a couple to a church to have sex. I don't recall ever thinking that. It had to come from somewhere. I don't think Black Earl came up with it. If it wasn't me, I'm just assuming it was you.
He was too busy hanging pictures.
Hanging pictures on the wall,
Yeah.
crooked.
The mayor's prank was definitely my idea. I called Anthony
And this was another time where mornings, I'm not very strong in the morning. And the phone rang, and I pick up, it's the morning. And
I was
Opie-
pacing my apartment going, how can we blow up our lives today? I mean, a little background. Anthony and I were really, all right, I'll say it. We were huge in Boston. We had unbelievable ratings, and we put out a CD, and it was just crazy. But the company didn't really appreciate us. We weren't making any money. They were, in a lot of ways, like holding us back. And my thinking at the time was, well, there was also a lot of radio companies calling us like crazy. I mean, like crazy. We were becoming one of the hottest things in America. And I just started thinking, you know what? It's time to blow this thing up.
Yeah,
So-
because, again, we were under contract. So,
Right. And so I'm like, you know what? Why don't we just get even more edgier and more, crazier? And this is, back then you got to understand the environment of radio was if you got fired, you got slapped on the wrist, whatever. But if you had talent, you were going to go to the next plateau and get a bigger job and more money. I knew that philosophy. I mean,
Radio
without a doubt.
is bizarro industry, or at least it was. It's like the complete polar opposite of real companies, where you do something good and you get a promotion. In radio, do something heinous, horrendous, get fired, get scorned, make the paper call your mother a whore, and hey, you're getting a better job and more money.
Right.
And it would happen every single time.
And that was the environment we were living in. And I just decided it's time to really start taking some crazy chances. At the worst, we'll get fired and, we'll get a bigger job. So I called up Anthony.
Also, if I could just put this in there, he had been doing radio for many years at this point. So he kind of knew that this was what happened. I came out of construction. I installed heating and air conditioning ducts my whole life. I had just been in radio for a couple of years. So I am a grinning idiot, just happy to be there. And him even teetering, some days he'd come in and go, dude, we got to get out of here, man. We got to, screw this up so we could get a better job. And all I'm thinking is me back in the ductwork. I don't want to work.
I used to be somebody.
Yeah. Hey, remember the Opie and Anthony show? And he's ready to blow the whole thing up. And I'm just like, could you please not f this up for me?
And I knew that too, so I would make sure I would call Anthony real early in the morning when he wasn't thinking clearly. And I go, Anthony, I got a great idea today. We're gonna tell the whole city of Boston that the mayor died in a fiery car crash while he was on vacation in Florida. What do you think?
Okay. Right. Yeah, hit the snooze.
And then I remember we were in the studio and we didn't get nervous many times on the air over the years, but I remember shaking, going, "Are we really going to do this?" And we both looked at each other, and the time was going by. We didn't do it right away, if you remember correctly.
No, we didn't.
And then all of a sudden I looked at Anthony, and we kind of teased that we have a story about the mayor, and I'm like, "Here we go." We're getting on the roller coaster now.
Yeah.
And there was no turning back. And
once we were committed, it was all over. We said that the mayor was indeed killed in some kind of car wreck.
Hold on.
We said it was in Florida, and they couldn't get in touch with him because great timing again, great O&A timing. He was on a plane coming back from Florida at the time. So all of his staff and everything could not get in touch with him, any family members, and they couldn't confirm that he wasn't dead. Although we sat there and go, you don't go to CNN for dick jokes. Don't come to O&A for hard-hitting news. The news station up there, WBZ, they weren't running the story, but O&A on the rock station, the Beavis and Butthead station, we had the news first.
Anthony, they look horrified. We got to tell people this was our April Fool's prank.
Right, it was April Fool's.
I'll see they're smiling a little bit now. No, we were mocking the fact that all the other radio stations did those goofy April Fool's pranks. Look at outside your window at 2 in the afternoon. There's going to be a meteor going over the city.
Yeah, hey, we're changing format to oldies today. Oh no! And who's the idiot believing it on April 1st?
So we decided just to take it to a whole nother level, and
it pretty much ended people doing April Fool's gags.
Well, you got.
We have a good way of ending things.
Yeah, we ended up.
A question over
we
here.
Have one of our older.
Could you state your name, please?
My name is Hugh Panero. I'm just curious. I wanted to explore this issue with you about when you want to blow up the deal that you...
you were listening upstairs?
You assume you try to do something really outrageous, or can you explain that a little bit more?
This is our new boss, so this is a very awkward situation now.
But this is all being recorded, right? I assume, right?
Yeah,
okay,
yeah.
We'll be back to you a little bit on this. Okay?
There he is, the guy with the balls to hire us. Nice.
He was listening upstairs.
Balls
He was
doesn't
listening in the other-
necessarily
no.
mean brains either. Jesus, what is he, an idiot? Stop.
We're broadcasting this? I thought we were just having a little get-together with our fans.
He was listening in the other room with the lawyer. So
It was just a joke.
it was just a joke.
Little humor.
We've got someone with an interesting T-shirt on.
The gentleman with the pussy wagon shirt on.
Very
Classy
nice.
guy, you
Great
know.
movie.
Well, after getting fired twice, killing one mayor, and getting arrested, do you guys regret anything?
That's taking that question. That's
Sorry to stump you guys.
regrets. When you end up somewhere, it's hard to regret where you are. We're very happy that we're here, and very happy that we're employed, and that we're going to be able to do a kick-ass show on XM. So it's hard to regret anything. Were there regrets when we were sitting there the day after we got the boot, going, "Oh my God, is this a bad one?" Oh, Yeah, we kind of would have liked to have had that time machine to slip into and not do the St. Pat's thing. So I think regrets are a little relative as to where you are at any given moment.
But we were talking about blowing up our show and our career, and Hugh Pinero there is now very nervous. But back on that fateful day, I should say, we didn't go walking down to the studio thinking that was going to be the end of our WNEW career and being syndicated to close to 20 markets. We just did a very edgy, crazy show, and at the time going into that show, we didn't think this was going to be the day we blow it all up. We had no intention of blowing it up.
We had done the same promotion 2 years prior to that, so we assumed that we'd be okay, that we were being backed by the company and that we wouldn't get the boot for doing it. And, of course, we pushed it a little further each year. And the third year there, we kind of pushed it over the line with the church, and that's what did it.
And the reason was because all the stories about the priests and the little boys in the media, we just
that
said
was
that.
the reason.
Well, we're like, why don't we just put church on the list again, so.
Yeah. I think, without trying to make any excuses, the media did have a lot to do with the snowball effect that got us thrown out of there. Because, in essence, a couple was in a vestibule at St. Pat's doing what? I don't know. It's hard when we're not there, when we're in the studio and there's some kind of disgusting live sex act going on in front of us that we're trying to describe. We know what they're doing, and we're describing it in a way that we could get away with it. When you send people out, we're not sure what's going on. We're not sure if they are having sex. At that point, it's got to sound good. I mean, if the spotter is making it sound good and they're doing whatever they're doing, that's fine. So we don't know. They were in a vestibule doing whatever they're doing. When the press got a hold of it, I guess that didn't sound good enough. So they had to come up with things like pew-rocking sex at St. Pat's. And they made it sound like, when I'm reading this, I'm like, oh, my God, this is horrible. Who did this?
Who are these guys?
And then I have to read Opie and Dopey did it, Nothing can rhyme with Opie.
I know.
Dopey. And, they spelt it out like there was a couple on the altar just banging, going crazy, when in essence it wasn't, of course, morally despicable, blah, 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 but it wasn't as bad as it was presented to people that never heard the show. So now you're getting people that never heard it going, oh, my God, this is awful. We got to get these people off the air. It's like, but you didn't hear the show. Yeah, but I read about it. I read that, they climbed up on the crucifix and were, getting in a threesome with Jesus. It's like, no, what? It didn't happen like that. So
what'd your families think about this?
I don't have one anymore. They disowned me that day.
Yeah,
actually, very supportive.
Completely supportive, except for a few aunts. But what can I tell you?
They don't count.
Yeah, they don't count. They're not men 18 to 49. Who cares about them?
Actually, so someone in the paper, one of the writers, wrote something that our mothers to spawn such
evil filth or whatever.
Filth, they must be whores or something. Like, I mean, really, calling our mothers whore, and it's like, hey, Mom, you made the paper. Like, oh, Anthony.
And those writers are on our list.
Yeah.
We got a long list of people to get to. Yep.
A vendetta list?
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, there's a vendetta list.
Oh, it's
You'd
going to
like
get
to
ugly.
think you're above that stuff, but fuck them.
Yeah.
Nah, not above it.
So go ahead.
I actually have a question about who you guys are going after. Now that you're in D.C. and I guess you're primarily recording here, you have your friends Ron and Fez down here too, but
Ron and
your
Fez,
friends,
Ron,
like the
we
Ron
love
and
those
Fez.
guys.
what about Don and Mike, who you guys are huge fans of and that kind of stuff?
Are they still on?
They're still on. It's been. I sent an email a couple of days ago and just saying that thank God you guys are back because
They're not even in our league. Those guys, they're not even in our league.
And also,
they really aren't.
Yeah.
They never were, and they proved that after we were gone. They did nothing, so whatever.
They took a few of you guys' bits nonstop, and now that I'm on the radio, I just like to say ass, shit, fuck. Thank you.
Thank you, George Carlin. But I mean, yeah, it was a real bummer, that whole Sextra Sam thing. I was like, did we just fuck up the easiest job in America?
Yeah. How do you do that?
And I had a real tough time with it. I was really severely bummed, because we were at a good place in our careers at that point, and took a long time to get over it. I mean, I literally, we joked about it earlier, but I hit the road. I didn't know what the hell to do with myself. I was like, you got to be kidding me.
Yeah, you get that false hope at the beginning that, you're going to get a phone call. Hi, this is Mel Karmazin. We made a huge mistake. Come on back, O&A. We love you. And you're waiting every time the phone rings. Oh, is that Mel? And the days and months go by, and then you realize, oh my God, I'm not going to be working for 2 years. Oh, this sucks.
Yeah.
Radio control helicopter.
To be a creative person and not have that outlet, it's torture. There's not enough money in the world that makes that go away. So, I remember an episode I had. I lived close to Central Park, and I would do a lot of inline skating. I couldn't sleep. Literally for the first 2, 3, up to a month. And one night I got up at like 3 in the morning, skated as hard as I could around the park. I was just having like anxiety attacks. I was like, I cannot believe that this happened to us,
Having a death wish.
Yeah, right?
Yeah, I know. Well, it's pretty lit, You got to kind of zoom in and out of the riffraff. But Anthony doesn't like that I inline skate. I'm up to the point where I inline skate on the streets of Manhattan. I hold on to like the backs of trucks and stuff, so. With no pads or helmet,
Yeah,
Great,
there's no potholes on those.
It's going to be, hey, it's Anthony, and I'm not bad. He had a little accident. He's okay, though.
So you bringing your crew back with you?
Oh, yeah.
So who's going to be...
We got the wonderful Steve C. from FoundryMusic.com, who kept in touch with the listeners over 2 years. He was like our little gateway to the listeners. The Internet was... a great tool, man, and people downloading bits, and it really kept the people in touch with us over the 2 years. Instead of just disappearing, they were able to rehash the same old crap for 2 years.
Did you do any new bits for the Internet, or could you do that?
No, every time we talked to our agent about doing anything, he was like, stop,
Oh
don't even talk to people in public.
Right.
Because,
I'm not going to get my 10%. Stop.
Yeah. I'm sending people over to the house to sew your jaw shut for 2 years. And he was like petrified that anything we did was going to void the contract and his 10% was going to fly out the window.
Right.
So we really couldn't do anything. The lawyers over there at Infinity are pretty well paid, and they know their stuff, and they're willing to do whatever it takes. We could be there flat broke paying legal fees going, yeah, we showed them. Got a dime over there. So we just decided we're going to have to sit out. We did what we could. We got on, wrote some stuff on the websites for people that could read, and
But mostly it was our old bits
out.
that kept this whole thing alive. I mean,
go on eBay, you'll see volume 68, O&A, 10 hours of material.
And we got new fans because of that from all over the world at this point. We get email. Well, I was going to say, I said all over the world, but one example, a guy from Alabama. Huge fan of the show.
I don't consider that part of the country, so you can use that as world.
They're listening. And they write these emails like they're listening to a live Opie and Anthony show. Like, that bit you did last week with Brewer was so funny. Like, I think we did that 2 years ago, but he found it somewhere on on the internet, and now he's a huge fan. And we get these emails from just about everywhere now.
Well, XM's going to be online here, so
yeah.
Yeah.
All those people all over the world can be fans of yours now. Once again,
This guy's yawning. Are we that boring?
Yeah.
Working off the hangover. I had a question about little Jimmy Norton.
Yeah.
He's going to be incorporated in the show.
He's just like he was before we got canceled. He's going to be the third member of the show, basically.
Yeah, he's a great
Jim
guy
Norton
to
is
have
blowing
sitting there.
up. I mean, he was just on Jay Leno. He killed on Leno. He's going to do an HBO special, and all he wants to do is our stupid radio show. He's getting all these incredible opportunities, but he just wants to do the Opie and Anthony show because he says it's the best creative outlet for what he does, and also it gets him laid a lot. He said
because he's such a dumbass. He screws everything up too, and he can't enjoy anything. If he gets a role in a movie, he's bitching about everything and what they don't want him to say, or he gets a pilot on MTV and he's bitching about the restrictions that are put on him. And we never put restrictions on him. He could blurt out whatever the hell he wanted. And sometimes it was like, for me to look at him and go, oh, you're sick. That's got to really be bad, Really. So, no, we're happy to have him there.
another email for you.
That's a long one. As you guys are aware, many of your listeners also listen to Howard. Howard who? If you were both on terrestrial radio, I could understand a competing broadcaster putting your show up against his. But the fact that you're now breaking into the satellite market, which requires a lot more from listeners than just turning the dial, do you feel this is a smart move as your show launches on XM? If it proves... Oh, Jesus
You don't have to go
Christ.
through all that.
Jesus. What was the question?
It's really two different games. I mean, yeah, we'll be on live up against Howard. A lot of the media is looking at it as Howard versus Opie and Anthony. Who's going to win? Blah, blah, blah. But, we're on a whole different platform. If people are going to be listening to Howard over us in the morning, in a way, that's fine because they'll get another 3 or 4 opportunities to hear our show anyway. So it's kind of a moot point.
I
really.
I always felt because of the mood around Infinity Broadcasting that we were competing with him when we were working with the same company. You know, and we were in afternoons and he's in mornings. We couldn't be further from competing, but for some reason, in his mind, it was a competition.
Yeah.
That wasn't fought out on the air as much as it was behind the scenes and in Mel Karmazin's ear. To tell us to not talk about him. And coming from a guy that made his bones talking and goofing on other jocks, it was disheartening for us. I mean, growing up, you grow up, especially growing up in New York, you grow up a fan of Howard, And after working for the same company and having to deal with some of his bullshit, it was disheartening. It was like, damn, this isn't like the guy that I pictured, the guy that in his movie goes in and Imus is the one that's yelling F you to him. And, it's like, Jesus, the guy he really ended up being quite a hypocrite to us. And I'm not just saying that like, it's another jock saying Howard sucks. It's not that. It was just.
Oh, we lived this.
It was a letdown that, he turned out to be such an asshole, that when we worked for the same company.
It was like seeing Superman without his cape and realizing he was just like.
You're just Clark Kent.
You're just Clark Kent with goofy glasses.
Well, let's go over this way.
First, I got to say it's great to hear you guys again. I mean, it's just like
thank you.
Comforting.
It is so great to hear us too.
But I have 2 quick questions. I don't know like what your contractual obligations are, but will you guys be allowed to since you're in DC, go on the Ron and Fez show? Or do anything like that?
Well, they work for a company called Viacom.
Yeah. Yeah.
So Ron and Fez would have us on tomorrow, but I think because of who they work for and who we work for, that's not going to happen anytime soon.
I think it's like, you go into a fleet bank and rob it, and then you try to open up an account at the same branch because you know the teller. It's kind of weird.
Also, the other thing is, will you, I just totally went blank what I was going to say.
Yeah, I hate when that happens.
What I wanted to know is...
We were with you, though, man. I was like, it's going to come out.
The whole little altercation between Jay Moore and Andrew Dice Clay,
right.
Was that all 100% genuine? Like the whole...
Were you calling it bullshit? Hey, Snapperhead, I don't do fake fights, okay? Oh! Sit down, jerk off.
Stop it, please. People actually, when we first started at NEW in New York, people actually thought Dice was working there when I used to break into the Dice impression. Because, first of all, no one really cared about Dice. No one did an impression of him, really, seriously. And he wasn't doing anything. So we played it up like he was sweeping up the studio for us. And people called up and believed
and
it.
They bought
and
it.
Instead of, hey, Dice, sorry to hear you sweeping up, they're like, you're sweeping up.
I played the garden, now I'm here. I'm over here now.
To the left.
Yeah, I just want to say it's great having you guys back. I'm from Suffolk County also, so it's nice
All
to
right.
have you guys down here.
The country.
Yeah, the country, exactly. How do you guys feel about being so close to Capitol Hill now, and you got some real conservative scumbags trying to basically change satellite radio too now, trying to get the FCC on satellite radio. How do you feel about that?
I think they have a tough battle. I think it's a lot easier to regulate terrestrial radio just for the fact that their excuse is, oh my God, it's available for everybody. A small child doesn't even need a radio. They pick it up on their braces. They could hear O&A and it's available. It's unbelievable. Kids are picking it up on their Nikes now and they're hearing horrible language. All right. They got that. They won. They've taken their vague, gray FCC rules and spread them so thin that now words like balloon knot, unacceptable. When you have a subscriber-based show and XM satellite, you have to buy the equipment, you have to pay a monthly fee. I think they'd have a very tough time as they do with television, with cable television. Basic cable now, it's great. Don't get me wrong, I love it. But I'm still spinning my head around because it used to just be HBO. Remember when HBO like first came out? You'd hear, fuck. And you'd be like, whoa, what? That came out of my TV speaker? This is unbelievable. And you got used to it. And now, like FX, and you watch things like Nip Tuck and Rescue Me, Leary's show, which is really great, and XM sponsors. It's great because you hear them using real language, and I think the FCC would have a hard time coming down on that because it is something you pay for. You can't just set up the rabbit ears and pick it up. If they want to regulate broadcast, where you need that antenna and it's coming out over the airwaves, watch the children, protect the children. I think we lost that battle, especially now. It's really bad, like you said, with so many conservatives, religious right. I mean, ugh. There's only so much you could do there, but I think they'd have a hard time in this medium.
You guys missed the war.
Yeah, we did. Yeah, we did. I'm a flip-flopper. I gotta say, I'm a flip-flopper when it comes to the war, and we would have loved to discuss this and loved to have watched our own opinions on it evolve through the course of this. I can't understand people that make a decision and have to stick to it no matter what happens. It's like, at first, I was very much on the Republican side of things. I have been for many years, I loved Ronald Reagan, I love the attitude and everything. But when you get a president in there now that there's too much of his religious ideology making policy, you got to get him out of there. It's crazy. I don't... Things like stem cell research, which would be a great benefit to people, being squashed because what? God says it's wrong. It's like, no, stop it. Stop legislating your religion,
And we're just sitting here hoping that Kerry could be this leader. And the more you look at Kerry, you're like,
that ain't working either.
God, say something.
The Democrats
say anything.
Pick one guy that could work. Hone it. Work him. And they picked Frankenstein.
They picked another robot. I mean, pick a guy with a personality,
He's got that Hillary Clinton way of speaking. And I want to be your next president. What the hell? What is that speak? Act. They're going to pull out his laser gun. Melt Congress.
Opie got you into radio.
Yeah.
But who got you into radio?
Oh, Brother Weeze.
Oh, really?
Well, actually, Brother Weeze?
Oh, a little hand for Brother Weeze.
I did radio in college, and I was telling George Taylor Morris this earlier. When I first got into radio, it was all about having a voice like George here. And I was a kid from Long Island with a horrendous Long Island accent, practicing my voice every day. And I realized real early on, I better get something else going, or I'm going to have to find another job. And so I just started to, get stupid on the radio. And when I decided to go down that path, I happened to be at Geneseo up near Buffalo and Rochester, kind of, and Brother Weeze was the morning guy there, and here was a real guy on the radio with a horrendous voice. His background, he was like running prostitutes in the streets of Rochester. He did 3 tours of duty in Vietnam because it was fun. He was the first guy I ever heard that went back to Vietnam because he was having a good time. I never heard that before. And he was also a bookie on the side, and I think he was connected. And he listens to XM, so he's hearing this right now laughing. And just the worst voice. But what he was saying, it was like he was like just a regular person on the radio, and I related to that. And then what threw it just over the mountain, over the cliff was when Sam Kinison came in to hang with Brother Weeze for 3 days. And I'm like, between Weeze and Kinison on drugs and then just losing his mind, I'm like, wow, I saw my future. I'm like, this is
this
I
is
really
what
did.
I want to do.
I was like,
drugs, whores.
Right. Here's Weeze, a real guy, saying what he feels, not reading stupid liner cards. And here's Kinison that just doesn't care about being alive, basically, and just taking everything to the edge. And I saw the light that day, definitely. And I just started using more of my personality and started, finding other people to do the show with,
So you always wanted to be on the radio?
Yeah, always, even when I was a little kid. But my laziness and not wanting to get up early kept me from going to school and doing anything productive that way. So I just had to go into the working world. But I had always wanted to do radio. Who wouldn't? It was fun, and growing up in New York, it was really kind of before real personality based radio like we know it today. It was Dan Ingram and Ron Lundy and all those guys with the big voices spinning the tunes and the echo. Hello, love, Ron Lundy, CBS.
It's like, what are they broadcasting from a gymnasium? The echo would be so
hear the
loud.
Basketball going behind him, a little dribble, take the pass.
Right.
And that just I loved the thought of doing something like that. But again, I was much too busy smoking pot behind John Glenn High School in Elwood, and kind of passed me by the opportunity to do anything like that, so I had to go to work. But always kept the creative edge up. I was in a lot of bands, wrote a lot of song parodies, and sent them out to radio stations. And Opie picked one up, played it, wanted me and my brother to come in and perform it live, and we did. People seemed to enjoy it. And then after I was done doing that, me and Opie just started bullshitting about the news or anything else. And
it was like I knew Anthony for my whole life. Like he was a childhood friend. We thought on the same level. I couldn't believe the chemistry, and I couldn't believe. At that point, I was trying to build, more people on my show. I was just doing, my show by myself. And Anthony was making the rounds. Like, he was on Howard's show, doing some things, and he did other radio in the area. And I sat there. I could not believe that none of these dopes out there realized how talented he was, because most guys in radio have such an ego, and it's all about them being funny. It's all about them having the last word. And here was this true raw talent, and no one out there grabbed them before me. I couldn't believe it. I could not believe it.
So embarrassed.
And so he was installing air conditioners. I go, dude, I could show you a much better life. So.
Whores and drugs, like he said.
That's right. That was 10 years ago, by the way.
Hey, I'm Tony from Virginia.
Hey, Tony.
I heard you're bringing some of the Whack Pack back, and I heard you're thinking about bringing Stalker Patty back. Is that true?
She never goes away. It's not even like bringing her back. It's like somebody saying they were going to bring back fleas. They're just there.
Yeah, we have a whole new audience, so we should explain really fast. Stalker Patty is really one of my stalkers. She would be outside the building every day, stalking me, following me to wherever I went. Then she started getting on the same trains as me, and I'm like, oh, God, we better keep this one close. So we invite her up into the studio, which was pretty stupid.
We do the worst thing. We do what they say never to do with stalkers.
Right.
Like every rule that they say, you're never supposed to acknowledge their existence, blah, blah, blah. We do the exact opposite. Yeah, invite them on the show. Make them think they are important to you. Make them think they do have a shot at romance.
Yeah, and it got to the point she was homeless, and she actually, I know this is hard to believe, but she was living under the stairs with a pet rabbit. She would sleep at the radio station.
In the radio studio.
That must have gone over big.
Oh, yeah.
She would she would put the cushions down from the couch, and she was sleeping there for a while.
Mm-hmm. So I had no place else to go.
And you know what? She already has her XM radio, and this lady makes no money, so.
Yeah, she was like homeless, but she's, I could see her. Could you install it on my shopping cart? Something. Where does the antenna go? But just put it in the child seat. Hi, Patty, you're hooked up.
And we're looking forward to finding new freaks, so.
Yeah, it was always an evolving thing where we would get new people.
Every time George hands over one of these emails, I get nervous, because he doesn't want to say it himself, I think.
How much did Anthony miss being on the air when Tom Brokaw said bukkake? Yeah, man. Tom Brokaw, I mean, this is before I even got into radio. I was fascinated by this guy. Here is the guy, NBC Nightly News. He's the main guy, and he cannot speak. He has a speech impediment where he cannot pronounce his L's. And a lot of stories have L's in them. You'd be fascinated at how many stories have an L in it. And he said bukkake. What word was he trying to say? Because that one, I missed that one because I was still fixated on the one where he said tax cuts. Have you heard that one? President Bush pushing his tax cuts to the... No shit. I'm serious. As clear as day. Tax cuts. I was like, what did Tom Brokaw just say? I watch him and I just can't stop when he's like, yeah, Hurricane Ivan heading toward the Louisiana border. People in the Big Easy bracing for Ivan is a bracing way for Hamburg tonight news.
And now he's going off the air as we
Thank
start our
God
show.
we'll have a couple of months before he.
Yeah.
A couple of months.
Some things to riff on here. These are some things that have happened since you guys were gagged. The breast bearing of Janet Jackson.
Oh, what a joke.
Oh, that's
The reality
kinda-
is no one knows what they saw that day. But
Yeah.
then the mainstream media once again took it and ran with it and made sure, no, this is what you saw. We're telling you, this is what you saw. I had a Super Bowl party. We had kids running around playing on the floor and doing what kids do. And we had the typical, dip and all that crap in the pizza. And I remember just hearing people go, what was that? Like they weren't even sure what they saw. They really weren't. Was that a bodysuit? What was that? It made them think, but it wasn't like, oh my God, we just saw her tit. No one.
Till Fox News played it 80 times in that day.
Right.
And then that kind of started things rolling with the FCC really, going crazy. But
It's just the breast, people.
I
mean,
know the way they treated it. It's like you think Ron Jeremy's cock was between them. It was just, it was a breast. I can understand if the children are watching, it's the Super Bowl and Ron Jeremy's cock. But, it was a breast with a little star thing she had there. It was nothing.
And besides, we did that first. So we got a breast on the Today Show
The Today
before.
Show.
Way before the Janet Jackson
That's
thing.
right.
We had a girl flash live on the Today Show, and now they're in delay. Another thing we started.
We ruin a lot.
Yeah, we really do.
So everybody can break out their WOW posters again that have been hiding up. in
Oh,
the
yeah.
closet.
The stickers are already getting out there, the new ones. Yep.
Girls and women's pants have stuff written across their butts these days.
Yeah, some just shouldn't.
I got that whole juicy thing is great when it's on a hot ass. I want to start my own clothing line that where girls can wear the sweats and it just says pungent. Because some of those girls should not be wearing the juicy wear. Awful. Yeah, awful.
Yeah.
Swampy.
Yeah, there are just, how many guys would really go to the beach in a ball bag, You really kind of assess what you look like. And
Dude, you just insulted George.
You don't, oh, sorry, you go in the ball bag? You go and you kind of got to think about, some of these women, though, they just throw these things on. Yeah, you're juicy, all right.
The
Let's see,
juice that collects at the bottom of a garbage bag, maybe.
Before you guys, before you guys left, Survivor was probably, maybe that was the only reality show that was on. There may have been a couple of others, but now there's reality shows everywhere. Wife Swap is the new one, and
Wife Swap.
so you've missed all of these.
Yeah, I watched the one, what's the one where they send like the mom from one family to live with another family?
That's great.
That one's pretty good. I was digging on that one. It's like they take some rich bitch and stick her in some ghetto house and do the opposite. And the woman from the ghetto house is in the rich bitch's house. And she doesn't have to do shit. She's just sitting there. The maid's taking care of everything. And she's just like, well, I hung out by the pool today. And it's like, wow, she's got the life. And the other one is like, do I have to touch anything in this house? She's horrified to be there. And I'm there laughing my ass off. I love that show.
Cell phones everywhere.
Yeah.
Trains, cars, gas
Yeah.
stations, people walking.
We're going to actually incorporate that into our show. We got a few programs that Steve from Foundry Music is working on where people could just send pictures to us, from wherever they're at. And they'll be available immediately to our fans.
I'm sure those will be nude pictures and pictures of, hey, dude, look at you saw my sack, Peggy.
Well, are you nervous?
Nah. We've had 2 years to mull everything over and not nervous at all. No.
Well, welcome to XM. We appreciate you guys taking it this direction.
Mm-hmm.
And now hopefully the country will take it in your direction.
We had no choice.
No, that is not true.
They know we're joking. That's what I do want to end by telling Hugh Panero. We realize this is the last possible place we could be, so we won't blow up this gig, okay? We'll be around for a while.
It'll be, hey, Opie, breaker, 19. Right. We're doing our show today. Hey, everyone, bump it up to 2-1. That's right.
Opie and Anthony, your first round of applause on XM.
Thank you. Thanks, guys.
You know, ever since Opie and Anthony came back on XM, I got me a voice gig. It used to be I'd smoke a pack and a half of smokes and drink 2 pots of coffee, but, fuck it. You're currently listening to Opie and Anthony, Ungagged, recently recorded at the XM studios in Washington, D.C. Tune into XM 202 on Monday, October 4th at 6 a.m. Eastern Time for the live premiere of the Opie and Anthony Show, exclusively on XM Satellite Radio. Don't forget to spread the virus.